So, welcome to this MagiCAD for Revit webinar, and today's topic is the ventilation and piping new features. I'm not going to take all the new features, but the main, top features. And the MagiCAD first version is 2016.11, and this is the published on December, so it is pretty new. And my name is Petri Piittala. I have been working here in a company now 17 years. And my location is in Finland, city called Tampere. And my job description here in company is technical issues. So I'm working in a technical support, testing, training, and also in development. And today's topics, or actually those categories, what we are going to check are some improvements to project management, to annotations, and then drawing and installation tools. There are also some new things in calculations, and then connection tools for drainage and air terminals. And then we also have some new product category. So these things we are going to cover up today. And now in this webinar, you can only hear me, or at least I hope you will hear me, but I can't hear you. So if you have some questions, you can find this kind of chat board or question board in this webinar tool. So you can write the questions here, and after the webinar I will try to answer the questions if there are some. Okay, but as you can see, my PowerPoint is very short, so we can jump right to the Revit. Okay, so the first new feature what we have in this project management dialog here, or ribbon, is this help button. So we have our help what is located in your computer when you install MagiCAD, but what is the new thing is the online help. So with this online help you always have an access to the latest help file. And here you can find, for example, the new features, and here is the newest release. So here you can find new features and also resolved issues. So here you can see all the things what I am going to show you today, and a little bit more also. That was actually the first new feature, online help. But then let's jump to the settings. Here under the settings we have some new stuff, like maybe one of the biggest thing here in setting is the unit support. So earlier in MagiCAD we only supported in ventilation, liter per second and pascals, but now as you can see here in this tooltip, now we support liter per second, cubic meters per hour, and cubic meters per second, and so on. So from this tooltip you can check which units are supported. And it means that if you change the units, let's change it. It goes to the normal Revit project units, so you can actually start it right away from Revit and change the units. But now if I change, let's say the ventilation and airflow, let's use cubic meters per hour, like this. So when I change the unit, and if I now check some air terminal, for example this one, and properties, you see that it really changed the unit. So now in this diagram it shows cubic meters per hour, and when you install the device you can use this unit. So it is used everywhere, like this. But now I will change it back to the liter per second, because that is what we use here, and so I'm more familiar with those one, like this. So when I change it back, and if I check it now here, you see that now it is liter per second, like this. So it was here under the MagiCAD settings and units. And in future, who knows, maybe we will support more units, but now we have these units supported. And then one really good thing here what we have is here under the content, appearance, we have this contextual tab. It means that always when you select something in Revit, for example here, it opens some contextual tab ribbon. So it always assumes that now you probably want to use some of these selected functions. So this part here in MagiCAD part, this is MagiCAD contextual ribbon. And now here in settings, you can choose which MagiCAD functions you want to be available in this contextual tab. If I want to have, for example, a bill of materials list, and let's see what else, maybe running index tool like this, or merge parameter, you can just activate whatever you want. And now when I take OK and OK, so if I select now let's say this air terminal, for example, now you see that bill of material is active, running index, merge parameter. So now you have more possibilities to do something immediately. Like if I now want to take a bill of material, it is easy to do it, and I have here selected objects automatically. Of course, if I select more objects, then all of them are selected like this. This is actually pretty nice thing, and you should check this one. It makes your work much faster when you have a correct when you have a, let's say, the most used functions in your contextual tab. And then one more thing here in settings, it belongs to the calculation part. So here when you go to the project sheet, you can find those calculation standards. And now we have added a new standard for the drainage calculation here. And there are a few standards what you can use for the drainage calculations. And when you change the standard, it actually makes some changes to the dataset or these product settings as well. So if I now go, let's say, to the dataset here, and I open my sewer. By the way, the naming, this one will be changed to be more real English in a next release, so this will be called drainage, not the sewer anymore in coming releases. But now if I take this sewer device and open some of these, you see that now we have more options available. So here you can choose, so for example, the type of the sewer point and so on, and it changed these discharge units according to that one. Of course you can manually edit that one, but still they are like a default values. So that was the new for the calculation. One of them. There are more changes in calculation, but then those one I will show later. Okay, but then that was all from the settings. And then the next we jump to the annotation part. Let's take some view active here. So what we have changed to the annotation part is here under the MagiCAD Common and Tag tool. As you know, the annotations, they are normal Revit families, they come from Revit, so you can also handle the annotations in Revit, annotate, and here loaded tags and symbols. But the problem here in Revit is that you can only have only one tag to one category. So for example, mechanical equipment, you can only have one tag, even though the mechanical equipment, they are radiators, air handling units, climate beams, and so on. So that's why it is good to use the MagiCAD tag tool. So here you can choose, for example, the mechanical equipment, and you can have different tags for different categories. This is not a new thing, but the new thing, there are a couple of new things. One is the tag on placement here, meaning that if I activate this one, then MagiCAD automatically add the tag when you install some device. So if I create this kind of air terminal here, and now the tag on placement is active, you see that it automatically adds the tag here. And one other new thing here is that when you activate some tags, let's say for something for supply device, and you choose something here, okay, this is now active. Now you can tag it right away. Here is the new button, tag. So you don't need to take OK and then start from Revit tag tool. You can take it right away from here and tag it like this. So this was the changes here, that we have made it a little bit easier to handle the tag on placement. We had this earlier, but it was in a different location, so it was very difficult to find it. And then this adding the tag, this is the new one, so you don't need to always close the dialog first and then start with the Revit tool. You can start it right away. All right, then we jump to the drawing tools. Let's take, for example, ventilation. This is the same for duct tool, then also pipe tools, and in electrical, cable trays and conduits. These things what I am show you next, they are the same for all of these segment drawings. Okay, but let's take, for example, this space here. Turn it to the 3D here, like this. All right, so let's take it a little bit smaller. All right, and this one, like this. Now we see it better. Okay, so let's say I want to start to draw duct above of this duct here, so that they don't collide each other. So I start to draw duct, and new things what we have here is the buttons down here, top off and bottom off, meaning that, let's say I take here 200 millimeter duct, and now I want to draw it so that it goes above of this duct here. Then I can take here top off, and I click the element here. It can be, of course, duct or pipe or cable tray or some Revit element, it doesn't matter. But now I click the duct here, so it copy the height level of the duct what I showed and copy the information here, meaning that when I now take OK and I start to draw my duct, there is no collision between the objects. So it is quite easy to copy the height levels. It also understands if there are, or recognize the insulation. If the duct or pipe is insulated, then you can it takes the height level from that. Yeah, and then one more thing here is the tolerance. So if you want to have some space between the objects, then you can define the tolerance here. And as you can see, it calculated right away. But if you want to take some other information, let's say take the bottom off, then I click here like this. So now it took the bottom level of that duct plus this tolerance. So now when I draw it, well, in this case it probably collides with the cable tray. But now you see here that these objects are 50 millimeter space between the ducts, like this. So it is quite handy tool. Of course, you can take it with the cable trays and so on. I can quickly show it to you. Let's turn turn on the cable trays like this. So when I do it again, let's take it bottom of cable tray like this. Okay. So now it went under the cable tray and 50mm space between the objects. Like this. And as I mentioned, it is the same with the all segment drawing tool what we have, ducts and pipes and cable trays and conduits. This is something that we will improve even more to the next release. So it is good to check these segment drawing tools every time when we get a new version and see what new things there are. There are things what make your drawing a little bit easier and faster. Okay, but that's about that one. And then the next thing, let's remove this one. Some small change to the array installation. So if I start to install a product here, okay, let's take the first one. All right. Okay, this is the array functionality what we have, and as you can see here, there are some new functionalities. There is this define area. I show the old one first. If I take the draw area, and let's take here that, okay, I want to have a 2 rows and 1 column, and then I just define the area. You see that I can draw the area however I want. I mean, it doesn't snap anywhere, so I just define the place like this. That was the old area definition, but now the new one is this define area, and with this one you can get the snap points. So as you can see here, now I can snap to different places. Okay, I want to take it from this corner point and this corner point, and then it defines the area like this. So that was the new one, define area. Other ones, they are the same what we have had. With this define area you can select the area a little bit more precise, so it is like exactly the size is exactly from the corner points. All right, and then let's jump to the next one, and it is the new product category what we have. Let's go to the piping here. So when I take the install product, this is the new one, substations. So it is like a heater, or where you can connect the heating pipes, you can connect to the domestic water pipes and so on. Primary connection, it depends on the manufacturer what kind of substation they define. And if I check these properties a little bit, you see that, okay, this is from Danfoss, and this one you can search, of course, from the product browser like this. So this says here what kind of pitch pipes are allowed to connect to this object and so on. And when you use this one, the calculation of course works with this one. And installation goes so that when I take the product and okay, now it creates the family for me, so it takes a while when you use it first time. Okay, and now as you can see here, there are a lot of systems available. So you can have you can select the systems, in this case to the secondary heating, primary, circulation water pipe, and also the domestic hot and cold water pipe. And if the product has more connections, then you can of course select more systems. So this is like a little bit how you say it, this is like a dynamic dialogue where, and it is according to the product what information is available here. If the primary connection is missing, then this one is missing here as well. And here you can choose, well, of course, the systems, heating supply, for example, like this, and heating return. You can define new systems, and you can give the pressure drop for the calculations. And same for the primary and domestic water. And when after you have selected the systems, then you just install the product. Installation is exactly the same than all the other product categories, like this. And now you see that there are a lot of connection points. So this is the new product group. Now we have mainly these kind of substation units, but in the future there may be like more some heating, different kind of heat exchangers and so on. But there are already now something, and then you can create. You can use MagiCAD for creating your own substations if you can find some suitable one. All right. Okay, but then the calculation changes. Well, first something that I don't actually have nothing to show for that, but one big change what we have made is the support for the non-MagiCAD products. Like you have some Revit families, maybe your own made Revit family, air terminal or water point or something. Earlier, it has been possible to use them in MagiCAD, so you can go here to the dataset, for example, and you can choose the family from your disk. So you can choose normal Revit families. But the problem has been that the calculation. Yes, MagiCAD calculations, they have worked with the Revit families, but the problem has been the technical data. I mean this one here, if I just open some balancing dialog here. So now, for example, this air terminal. So earlier, if you used these Revit families, non-MagiCAD families, then this data was empty, the pressure data. Flow, it worked, but the pressure drop, it was 0. But now in this new release, we support also your own Revit families and the technical data, meaning that if you have your own product, for example, air terminal, now this is MagiCAD product, but if you have your own, then you can define the pressure drop for this family. I'm not sure if here is the correct values, no. But anyway, when you have a pressure data, you can define it for the product, and then MagiCAD calculation use that information. Or not only pressure drop, you can also define the K factor or K coefficient for the sprinklers. And yeah, of course, some flow you can define that, but that worked already earlier. But just that you know that if you have your Revit families, now you can define the pressure data, and MagiCAD calculation is able to use it. So it makes this like a Revit, this family support, MagiCAD family support even better. And then one change in calculation here in piping systems is that when you run the balancing here, all the walls what you have here or these paints or something, MagiCAD shows the K factor here in this report. So then it is a little bit easier to know how the bends and all the fittings and they are calculated. And then one thing, if you haven't noticed, if you take a right click over some, for example, this case the bend, you can find this pressure data details. So in some cases, if it is like a manufacturer product, for example, some Lindap duct or something, then it's MagiCAD shows here the data source where the calculation method is taken and all the data table. If there is no data, then it just shows what is the K factor and pressure data. But if I take, let's see, let's see if I have used some real manufacturer ducts here. No, not here. No, they are generic one. Let's see if I have here. For example, here I have Lindap ducts, Lindap fittings, and it shows the data table where the information is taken. So always when you check the report, you can find more information if needed. And now when we are in this report view, one more new thing what we have in these reports is the node numbers. We have had the node numbers in ventilation and piping disciplines already earlier, but now we have added these node numbers also to drainage systems. So if I open something here, let's take it, for example, this one. Here we have something, and now when I run the calculation in drainage system, it is only the flow calculation, and let's use here this one. And now you see that in the report you have these node numbers. And the purpose of these node numbers is that when you print out this report, and then you make these node numbers visible in your printouts, then it is easy to follow all these routes where it goes. So when I now take update to model, all these node numbers, they are written to the objects, and if I then select here in MagiCAD Common, I take show node numbers, and let's take a network like this. So now it shows all the node numbers here like this. So I can take it here again, the balancing report, flow calculation report like this. And if I take this branch, you see that okay, it is number 14, it is number 14 here. Now I just move it here. Then I have here number 2 is some object also. So it is easy to follow or see where are all these objects. Of course, it needs some manual work, as you see here. Some numbers, they go over each other, so you have to move them a little bit. Maybe we should try to create some kind of algorithm to this tool that it places those numbers to the different locations so that they are not over each other's. This is in our to-do list, so maybe in this year releases we will have it. And then one more change for the calculations in ventilation. I will show it here. I show it first in online manual so that you can see how it is. here this kind of parallel duct calculation. In some cases, when there are not enough space, for example, this kind of bigger duct, then you want to divide it into the two smaller ducts so that they fit in. For example, in this case, let's open the 3D view as well. So here we have the situation that here duct, this circular duct, it hits to the rectangular duct, and if the situation is so that you can't move those ducts, so there is no space for moving them down or up, so then you have this possibility now that you could split this part to the two parallel ducts. Let's take here to the annotation. Okay, now it is 400mm duct, but what I could do is that I just draw here new duct like this, and then when I run MagiCAD calculation, like this, and update it, you see that it changed it split the flow to the two parts, and now the size is 250, and now they fit here under the rectangular duct. And of course, if you use here the tabs instead of T-branches, then the main branch will be the same all the way, like here in this picture here. So this is also supported. You don't need to use the T-branches, you can also use the tabs. Alright, that was the one new thing. Okay, then I have a few more things left. Let's continue with the connection tools. We have one improvement for the air terminal connections. Let's copy this air terminal here, and let's change the height offset to something like this. Okay, and now I want to make the connection from here to here, and I use this MagiCAD device connection tool from here to here. Okay, this is not a new thing. This is old stuff that you can make the connections, but the new thing is the flexible duct series. So if you want to have some part of this connection as a flexible duct, you can choose it, and you can also define here the length of the flexible part like this. So this is the new thing, and when it is okay like this, and now you have it. So it is like a Revit tool. Revit has this convert to flex duct tool, but this one you can do with MagiCAD tool. You can do it right away when you make the connection. So it is quite handy. And then the other connection tool improvement is for the drainage systems. Here, let's take it here. And okay, let's take the 3D. It is nicer to look at it. Here it is, and I will turn off the Revit link so it is easier to see everything. Alright, here I have this situation that I have some sewage points and sewer pipe and so on. And now I want to make the connection. The first thing what I show, it is not a new thing, but just show it anyway if you haven't noticed it earlier. But okay, actually I will show it later, but now I just show the normal thing here. Okay, I take the sewer connection, connect from here to here. And this is the old stuff that you can choose the connection types, and here you can see it how the connection will be. You can also have a slope in your connection pipe if you want. And then OK, and now you have a connection. But then the one new thing is that when you make the connection here, you have actually different possibilities, like here, connection to main pipe. And this is the old one, the free connection, and now it always try to make the connection so that it's connected to the side of the main pipe like this, and you can see it probably better here. Let's take OK and you will see it. So now it was the connection to the main pipe like this. But the new thing is that when you make the same thing, you can choose the top or this vertical connection. And now it make the connection from the top of the main pipe, as you can see here. So a little bit different connections. It is pretty good also. And then this wasn't a new one, but I have noticed in the support that people haven't seen these settings so often, so I will show it. Like in this case, I have this kind of product where you have a connector to the side, and now I have installed them, and the connector is to the right side now. So it means that in Revit I have to draw pipe here. And now when you use the sewer connection tool like this, it tries to make the connection first to the side and then make the connections. A little bit difficult to show it here, like this. But you have also one more option. You can check this one, rotate automatically. And when you click this one, it actually rotates the sewer point so that the connector is located towards to the main pipe, like this. So then you will have a little bit different solutions, like this. And as you can see here now, the device it has been rotated. So these kind of improvements to the connection tools. And then I have one more left, and then if you have some questions, then please ask. And this one, the last one, is for the find and replace tool. There are actually a couple of improvements. First improvement for this find and replace tool is that it supports the climate beams as well. So when you take a find and replace, you see that you can also change the climate beams to some other climate beams. Like this. And when you make the change, you can choose the climate beams from this project, or you can take them from dataset. So you have different possibilities. So this is the new thing, so we support a new category. And then one other new thing here in Find and Replace is that this tool actually stays open, meaning that if you have, let's say, many components, pipe components, what you want to change, you can take, for example, first I select only one here. Now it is the radiator valve. Or actually the better, okay, let's do this one first, then I will show the better idea. Okay, and I will change this valve to something else. What is this one? Okay, I just take something here. I hope it fits in because it may be longer. Yeah, it was okay. And as you can see here, the set find and replace still stays active. So now if I want to change something else, I can just take here, select and start to select something else. Like, okay, let's change, for example, this one here, finish. And I want to change, for example, again, these radiator valves. So you don't need to always reopen the tool. It is faster when it stays open and you can choose what you want to change. And it's easy also like that. If I make the selection here, now I have like two type of radiator valves available. As you can see here, oh, do I have it here? And okay, heating radiators. But anyway, when you have a, let's say 3 or 5 different type of components, then you can go one by one and change all of them, for example, to similar ones. So you don't need to always restart to find and replace and find it and replace it. So it just makes things quite much faster. Alright, but that was like my 45 minutes for the top new features. There are still something that I didn't mention, but you can find them in the online menu. I can really quickly take a couple of them. One thing here is this kind of thing. Wait a second, I will show it to you. Yeah, this updating Revit families of fitting to the project is for this duct and pipe series. I have noticed in a support that sometimes where people make some changes to, for example, let's say to duct series. As you can see here, we have the possibility to import the duct series from MagiCAD dataset. But if you make changes afterwards, like here, I go to the duct series like this, and I make some changes here. Let's say I select some new bends for this duct series. I want to have something here, for example, this kind of bend. I select it here. Maybe I add some new sizes here or something. So after I have done this one, so I have edited my duct series. Then I take here this duct series tool and I select the duct series, and then I take here refresh duct series. So it means that then it rewrite all the components, all these fittings and everything what you have selected to dataset. One good example is that maybe we have had some wrong data in our bend fitting, and we make a new bend fitting. Then you have to you come here to duct series and you reselect the bend to the project or to the duct series, and then you come here to duct series and you select it and refresh. Then it means that it replaced the old family with the new family. So then you will have a new information available again. So this is just for updating, as it says here, update, create and update duct series. All right. So now we just update the information, and then I have the new data available for these circular ducts. It takes some time because now it recreate the families. There are quite many of those. And then meanwhile it does this one. One thing what I want to mention is that here it also belongs to duct series. Is this one, possibility to lock dimensions of rectangular fittings. It means that when you use some real manufacturer fittings like Lindab, then here in MagiCAD we have this tool called production model updater. It means that this tool convert your generic ducts or generic dimensions to real dimensions from manufacturer database. So if you use, for example, Lindab rectangular duct. But in some cases, if you have edited, for example, the rectangular bend and you want to keep the sizes, you don't want to MagiCAD change them, so then you can use it. So for some duct series or some fittings, you have possibility to lock the dimensions. So you can edit them manually and you can lock it. So then it means that MagiCAD doesn't change them at all. This is also sometimes a really good feature, especially in some air handling unit rooms where you don't want to let software to change the fitting sizes because there are not so much space in that room. Yes, but that's it. That was the quite quickly 45 minutes the new features what we have in MagiCAD for Revit and ventilation piping. And if you have some questions, go ahead and write it to the questions board. There are actually something. Let's see. How can I make this one bigger? My box here, this question box is so small that I can't see anything. Okay, now maybe. Is it possible to set the maximum value for the slope when connecting ducts? No, that is not possible. I guess it means that if you have a for example, two ducts like this, and let's take the other one like this. I don't know if you mean this one, but if it is like standard connection tool and you make the connection, so maximum value for this one, or I'm not quite sure what it means, but please send me email or to our support if I didn't understand what you mean. But anyway, the answer is that no, we don't have any possibility to set any maximum value for the slopes. Then there is a question that could I show where I can insert the pressure data if the family is not MagiCAD family, so for the calculations. That was a good question because I don't have any native Revit families right now. I try to think if I find something here. If I have anything quickly. Well, I can't now find it right now, but if you could send me the email, I can actually, or if you could send the question to support@magicad.com. So I will check it and send some small video for you how to do it, because I can't remember now what was the Revit parameter there. And actually it may be so that if you don't have a suitable parameter available, then you can how say it, you can connect that parameter to some existing parameter, like if you have here, you can connect it to some real parameter. But please send the question to support@magicad.com and we will answer to you. Yeah, it was here some explanation for this sloping, that if you want to connect pipes but the slope can't go over to 300 per mil, but yeah, sorry, we don't have any limit for that, because actually the sloping, it comes from plain Revit, so I'm not even sure if we can affect to that one. Well, in our connection tool we could. That is true, yes. And then there is again the question of how you can convert a non-MagiCAD air terminal to MagiCAD air terminal. That is not possible. So we can't convert any non-MagiCAD object to MagiCAD object, but we don't need to, because in Revit they are all Revit families. So only thing what we need to do here is that to define these parameters, or what is the real word here now, what I'm looking for. For example, some pressure parameter. You have to connect it to the MagiCAD parameter so that MagiCAD calculation understand it. But that's everything what you need to do. And again, if you have question about this parameter thing, what I can't show you right now, please send email to support@magicad.com, and we will check it and maybe send some short video, so then it is easier to show it. Because I don't have any good Revit family right now here. And then, if there any direct relation with MagiCAD for AutoCAD or AutoCAD? No, we don't have anything here like a connection to AutoCAD. And well, IFC of course somehow, but not any direct link. And then there is a question, what is the difference between MagiCAD and the Revit? Well, there is no difference between MagiCAD and Revit, because this is a Revit. But the purpose of MagiCAD here is to help to make your designing and Revit workflow easier and faster. Like in Revit you have tools, yes, but in many cases they are quite slow to use. I mean, there are functionalities missing, and that's why we have these tools, many kind of tools for connection tools. We have installation products. We have a lot of products, real manufacturer products. We have calculations. We have these kind of crossing tools. So we have many tools that makes your things faster in Revit and easier. So that MagiCAD is for helping to use Revit. Yeah. No more questions. But yes, about these parameters, once more, please send email to support@magicad.com, and we will answer to you for this question that I couldn't answer right now because I can't remember that parameter name. So then we will answer later. And then to this question about the difference between MagiCAD and the Revit, there are probably those, or there should be webinars available about like a basic MagiCAD for Revit demonstration, so it shows a little bit what benefits you get with MagiCAD. All right, so no more questions. So thank you for watching this webinar, and as I said, this will be recorded, so you can download, you can watch it from our MagiCAD portal afterwards if needed. And if you have any technical questions, you can send email to support@magicad.com. And if you have some questions about the purchasing MagiCAD, you can send email to, or you can call to our salesperson. You can find the information from magicad.com. All right. Thank you and have a nice day. Oh, wait a second, there is one more question. It was that if we do not know Revit, MagiCAD can be learned. Yes, well, of course you have to know the basics of Revit because that Revit is the platform here. But if you take like a MagiCAD and let's say 3 days MagiCAD course, then in that course we will go through the basic Revit functionalities and then basic MagiCAD functionalities. So after that course you at least you know what to do, how to do, and then you can start to study it by yourself. This Revit is quite different compared to AutoCAD, so you need to spend some time for learning it, but still it is quite a good tool when you get into it, or a really good tool. But yes, you need to know also Revit to be able to use MagiCAD. All right, but thank you, and please send email or call us if you have any further questions. Bye bye.